I'm Emma, and we're going to be talking about reading hard books. So I do have my computer with me, so if it looks like I'm reading something, I am a little bit because I wanted to kind of approach this cohesively. And obviously the stack of books that we have is a little bit insane. This is my second time trying to film this, so I don't know, it's gotten a little chaotic. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. I want to start this video off by saying that I think a lot of people find mostly the length of a book or the content specifically inside a book sort of daunting, and this puts them off of reading. And I think this tends to make a lot of people feel like they aren't smart enough to read hard books. But I want to tell you something. I grew up in rural Louisiana. I went to public school. I was homeschooled somewhat. I'm not like super smart or anything. I do not think you have to be quote unquote super smart to read hard books. If I can read hard books, anyone can read hard books. Trust me. So I'm going to try to give you some tangible steps that might make these books that seem really daunting a little more accessible, give them a little bit more appeal, hopefully make them not feel quite so scary. So my first tip is that you eat an elephant one bite at a time, or whatever the phrase is. I think it's actually, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, but for the purpose of this video. So my advice here is essentially you take the book one step at a time. Maybe you do one chapter a day, or like a couple of so many pages a day, a couple of pages a day. I know that for I have War and Peace here with me. Specifically for War and Peace, I know a lot of people do a slow read of it. They tend to, I think the chapters line up pretty well with like a year. So a lot of people read it like one chapter a day, which ultimately amounts to about 2 to 4 pages a day pretty much, and you finish War and Peace within the year, which is a really tangible and cool thing that people do. There's a couple of like Substacks that do this year round or whatever, and I think that's a really approachable way to come at these books. And even if there's not like a slow read online that you can follow in, although I do think that doing it with a group makes it seem a little bit easier. If there's not a slow group that you can follow in, do it yourself. Build your own structure, sort of build out a plan, write it down and have it where you can see it, check it off, do it like it's a chore chart, like you're a kid. It really, I think, gives you a little bit of encouragement to see what you have accomplished and where you're going. And my second tip is the translation. A lot of the books that we associate with being hard or more difficult are books that are often from a different culture, or they're originally written in a different language. And sometimes the specific translation of this can make a huge difference in your reading experience. An example of this, once again, I'm going to point to Leo Tolstoy. The edition of War and Peace that I read is different from the edition of Anna Karenina that I'm about to read. So a lot of people are super particular specifically about what translation of Tolstoy that they think is the best or the most accurate. I personally read the Richard Pavar and Larissa Volokhonsky translation for War and Peace, but I'm fixing to read Anna Karenina, and I'm going to read the Louise and Almer mod translation. And hopefully this will kind of like enlighten me to see which one makes the most sense for me. Sorry guys, I'm trying to fix the angle that I'm at, but my camera is not wanting to stay where it's supposed to be at all. I was crooked earlier, sorry about that. I think the translation situation, this also applies to books that are from a different time period. Like we have a lot of sort of quote unquote drama with the Emily Wilson translations of the Iliad and the Odyssey, which I think are both fantastic translations. I've read both of those. And if you're going to approach something that seems daunting, it is definitely much more of a good idea to go with something that is supposed to make the experience a little bit easier or a little more fun, such as, I don't want to say that about Emily Wilson. People say her translations are easier, and while that may be the case, like, they're saying it negatively, and I think this is a very positive attribute for her translations to have. And of course, we are going to research as we read. So oftentimes when reading, especially something that comes from a different culture or time period from our own, we'll run into things that maybe don't make sense to us. I'm going to tell you how to fix that. Look it up. We are blessed to live in the age of the internet, where there's plenty of access to knowledge at our fingertips. And this is something that the internet can actually be used for that is worthwhile and will make your life better as opposed to worse. Turn your research into a hobby. There's a lot of joy in research. There's a lot of joy in learning something new. And the more you start to learn, the more you'll enjoy it. You're not in any rush. There's no reason to be rushing through these books. Take your time with them. You have all the time in the world to figure this book out, figure things out in the book, or even outside of the book. I think research is a great step to take for anything that you're finding a little bit difficult. Next is going to be everyone's least favorite piece of advice, which is self-discipline. Show up. You have to show up regularly to the book, and this really applies to anything worthwhile that you're going to do. And yes, this is the most annoying piece of advice I'm going to offer in this video, and it's also the most difficult. Pushing yourself to show up to a hard task every day is what makes whatever you are trying to do easier. The easier it becomes, the more joyful it will become, but it's not going to become easier if you're not doing it often. Hard things are good things. They are worthwhile, and we should all be pushing ourselves to do hard things in our current age of convenience. And last but not least, find peace in simplicity. This sort of goes hand in hand with the self-discipline advice. In our modern age, it is incredibly hard to enjoy something as simple as a book. There are a million distractions, and while I can't really stand behind the idea of a book being quote-unquote simple, I do understand that they are not nearly as attention-grabbing as a eternal onslaught of 7-second videos. The key to loving books and reading hard books and finding joy in it is a serious mindset shift. You have to realize that the distractions are not going to bring you peace or help you grow. You have to realize that the simple things, and once again, this can apply to more than just books, they are what true peace and growth is. I think finding yourself and your own academic journey is one of the most beautiful and best things you can do for yourself, truly. And my advice to anyone would be to pursue knowledge. Like, I think that's genuinely the best thing you can do for yourself. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching this video. Please leave below your tips and advice.